I can't tell you how excited I am to have my coach, none other than Dr. Ruben West, to be an interviewee on my show. I tell you that my life would not be where it is today without the input from this man. I can tell you a little bit about him, but I'm going to let him fill in the blank. But Dr. Ruben West is one of Les Brown's platinum speakers. He is a 2005 inductee into the National Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and he has black belt speakers. Man, if I could just give you just an inkling about what he's done for me, I would never have written a book without Dr. West's encouragement. I would never have put on my own event with Dr. West's encouragement. I would not be doing a podcast, a television show, and a magazine without his encouragement and input. So I want to introduce you to somebody who is near and dear to my heart, none other than my good friend, my coach, Dr. Ruben West. Dr. West?
Hey, Saccone, thank you. And I appreciate what you do. And I will say that I encouraged you, but that was based on what I already saw was there. And so all I really did was help to bring out what was there. But thank you for your kind words, and thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's what you said. You know, I speak. I'm an international speaker, coach, and trainer. I've gotten a chance to speak around the world: Dubai, London, Oman, Bahrain, South Africa, Kenya, Guyana. I mean, you and I were there in Guyana together.
True.
It's all over the world. I'm not trying to name everything, but I just want to show people the diverse areas that I've gotten a chance to speak at and do training in. That's what I love to do. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love starting businesses. I love helping people grow their business. But most importantly, Saccone, I love helping people make an impact. That's why I started Black Belt Speakers, helping people put the punch in their presentation, because I know with the right words, with the right message, with the right way you deliver it, it can be life-changing. We've all had presentations or heard something that really kind of guided us in a new direction for our lives.
Right.
So I know that if I can help people understand their message, understand their audience, pull some information in that could help them see it, feel it, or experience the message on a deeper level, then I can help change lives. And that's why I put together Black Belt Speakers. And so what I'm proud to say is you're one of the top. So I appreciate you.
But Dr. West, I thank you for having the vision to put Black Belt Speakers together. And I am so grateful to be a part of the family, because that's what it is. It's a Black Belt Speaker family. Well, I wanted to actually start this interview off again talking about how you have come to be who you are, the things that you've done to develop as a person. So your personal development routine, your tips, your tricks, what is it that you've done to get to the level that you are right now?
So when it comes to personal development, I think one thing that you have to do is you have to take a friend inventory. And I'm being very realistic with this. My best friend, Kevin Wilson, we've been in the martial arts school together, the medical staffing company together, the property management together, the surgical assistant company together, the medical staffing company. If I said that, I mean, I'm trying to get you to see that we've done all of these companies together. My friend Ron and James have been involved in the surgical assistant company, the surgical assistant school.
Right.
What I'm saying is, I made a conscious decision to surround myself with people who could help me better what I had and who I could also help lift up. Now, let me tell you why that is important when I talk about taking a friend inventory. What difference would it make to build $1 million home and put it in a very low income, rough, high risk neighborhood? Guess what? You'd never be able to sell it for $1 million. I don't care what it had in it. You wouldn't get the same value. You know why? Because of everything that was surrounding it. And so many people work on themselves, Saccone. They work on their knowledge, their feedback. They read books. They do all these things, but then they never take an inventory of the people they're surrounding themselves with. And they don't realize that that's the thing that's bringing them down. Right. And so the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you take a friend inventory. And that was something that I seriously I seriously did. I wanted to see, what did they have to offer? What were they bringing to the table? I listed several areas in my life that I wanted to hold at a high regard. And then I evaluated the people in those areas. And I would give them a score. And guess what? If they didn't meet the cut, it was okay. They're not bad people. They just weren't the people for me to surround myself with. And so that's one of the things I recommend that people do, is take that friend inventory. Here's another thing. Once you do that, now you can start building, right? You can start building. And how do you build? What's the point of having friends that you value and you don't get the value? In other words, you don't ask them. My friend Kevin, his specialty is personal finance. So, I went to him and worked with him on my personal finance, right? My friend James, he's a great father, a great mentor. I worked with him in that area. My friend Ron is just brilliant in his knowledge and his thinking. I worked with him in that area. So I don't have friends that I can't learn from, but I take the time to learn from them. I ask them. So not only do you do the friend inventory, if you find someone that's a good father and you want to be a great father, well, talk to them, ask them questions, ask them suggestions. So the first step is the friend inventory. And then the second step is when you've been surrounded with those right people, or you've surrounded yourself with those right people, ask them questions so that you can make their knowledge become your knowledge. Now you can start doing individual things. Now you can start doing things like reading. I love to read. And that was a skill I had to develop, because number one, it takes a while. And when I can't read because I travel a lot, I get the books on tape. So you still get the content, but you don't have to have the time to read, or you know what I'm saying? So if I'm driving 6 hours, I put the book on tape in. So, they're just great books. I'm sure everybody's read The 7 Habits. I'm sure everybody's read Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure everybody's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The 5-Second Rule, the Power of Onlyness. I mean, there's just so many books that I continue to read. And then here's the thing, but here's the difference. Don't read for information, read for application.
Say that again. Say that again.
Read for information, read for application. Because I talk to these people and they tell me how they read this book and that book and this other book, but I can tell by their lives that they haven't implemented the information, because there was answers in those books. There was strategies in those books. There was techniques in those books. And just from the way their life is going, I can tell that they haven't implemented the strategies that were in the book into their lives. So they read for information. I try and read for application. So I may not go through as many books as some people do in a year, but I try and implement the strategies. How are these strategies going to help my life? Because these are the things that's going to help me get to the next level. So when I take on the book, I also want to pull out some good content that I can employ in my life to help make a positive change.
Yeah, well, that is some amazing truth. And I hope y'all are taking notes, because I'm telling you, I am forever learning from Dr. West. Well, and I know he talked about the importance of investing in ourselves and pouring in ourselves. And we have to do that. And not just for the sake of just us gathering information, but are we applying it? Are we putting it into practice? Because that's what's really going to make the difference in your life. I don't care what kind of plan you have. If you never take action on it, it's just words on paper. It's just something on the spreadsheet or something on a PowerPoint. But if you are going to make a difference in the world in which you live, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to implement those things that you've learned. And I truly appreciate him by just reminding us, and even me myself, of the importance of surrounding yourself with like-minded people who think differently, so you can learn from him and so you can actually grow together. That is some awesome information. With Dr. West, I also like to make that segue, because I know oftentimes we learn how to do stuff for ourselves and we learn how to better ourselves. But then for me, after that's done, there's a responsibility that comes with helping other people, with helping to lead and help to develop them. So how do you take the stuff you've learned for yourself, and how does that translate into you helping to lead and teach others?
So, Coney, that's a fantastic question, and I'm glad you asked me that. This is very practical. I mean, this is very, very practical. Number one, you can't teach what you haven't learned.
Ooh.
You cannot teach what you haven't learned. And so
Yes.
there's a couple of ways by which we come through knowledge. Number one is through experience. Like
Hmm.
we've experienced something. And I believe a lot of times our life experience is the best teacher. So we come into knowledge because of experience. But another way we come into knowledge is because of learning. We don't have to make every mistake. We can learn from other people's mistakes. We can
Yes.
learn from other people's knowledge. So when I said I surrounded myself with those individuals and I asked them that quality content for me,
Right.
it now puts me in a position to apply it, and then it puts me in a position to share it with people that ask me.
Right.
The next way we acquire knowledge is through reading and studying. So these books that we read, these courses that we take, these seminars that we go through and go to, we take on the information, and now we have some content that when somebody comes and asks me, hey, Ruben, can you help me with my personal finance? Yeah, I can. Actually, I can tell you some things that you could do right now to improve your situation. And I can also give you a reference or a resource, Kevin Wilson, where you can go to get even more help. So the real key, Saucony, is when you learn this information, now you're in a position to help other people. I always say, never stop growing. And the reason I say that is because as a leader, you have to be able to communicate with people on all levels. I'm teaching my son Robinson that right now. We were
Right.
just in Kenya, Africa, and I told him, look, I'm meeting with some of the leaders of the country, just met with the former vice president, and then I'm in the village meeting with people. You have to be able to communicate with people on all levels. Now, here's the
Right.
trick, Saucony. When I was
Right.
in Burundi, I got a chance to sit down with the president. When we were in the Guyana together, we got a chance to sit down with the vice president.
Yes.
Also got a chance to meet with the minister of state. When you sit down with these individuals, you have to have a conversation.
Right.
Right. And you never know which way the conversation is going to go. So you have to have a lot of content. That's the benefit of reading books in your area of expertise and outside of your area of expertise. Watch this.
Right.
That's the benefit of reading books, articles, newspapers, magazines in your area of interest and outside of your area of interest. Why? Because you can now show that you know something about things that they're interested in, and it makes the connection deeper. Then when there's something that you want to relate to them as a next step or a next level, they're willing to listen because you've connected in a way that most people don't. So your ability to read, take on information, categorize it, memorize it, and have it available when it's necessary is critical. You can't, and hopefully you won't experience everything that you have to learn about. Like that's a rough way to learn. If you had to
Right.
experience, right? I've never had my hand in boiling water to know it's hot. That's a rough way to learn. But when you
Right.
learn from other people, other sources, it makes you the resource. Now watch what happens. Teach this to my son Robinson. We have father-son time where we have our hot chocolate. I have coffee, he has hot chocolate. And I discuss these leadership principles. And one of them is people will come to you if you can help them solve problems.
Right.
When they come to you and say, hey, Robinson, what about this? Hey, Robinson, what about that? Because he wanted to know, Dad, how come all these people come to you, even in other countries? How come they come to you? How come they want to meet with you? How come they want to talk to you? How come they want you to come to speak? Because they know I'm bringing solutions to problems. Right. And so when people bring me in to speak, Saucony, I try and help solve problems. I talk to them about things like Alan Dushman's book when he said that people would rather die than change. He's got a book called Change or Die. And he said people would rather die than change. I thought that was ridiculous till I read the book. And he talks about there's people that are told you got to quit eating this food or you're going to what? Die. Do they quit eating it? No. You tell them, hey, you've got to quit drinking this. You've got to quit doing these things. You got to quit smoking or you're going to die. Do they quit doing it? No. But what he said was through study, there was a factor and it was 3 R's. These 3 R's can get people to make life-changing change even when in areas where they've never been able to make change before. And he said it was 3 R's. Listen, he said relate, repeat, and reframe. If they can have someone that they could relate to, that they can see on the same level. Right. Then they can give them activities that they can repeat on a regular basis. Let's go to the gym and work out together. Let's do this instead of smoking. When we take our break, we're going to go chew this gum instead of smoke. They give them activities that they can repeat. It reframes their thinking. Now, when I go and share this information, people are taking notes. They're writing it down. They're coming up thanking me, but it wasn't my information. I didn't do the study. I read the information, but they still pay me. Why? Because I'm bringing them the quality information. So your ability to build yourself is the catalyst for your ability to help other people.
That is so true. That is so, so true. And I want to say how appreciative I am for the amount of work that you've put in to becoming who you are, because you set the bar so high. You know, I tell people all the time, I said, hooking up with Dr. West is like hooking your wagon to a comet. It's like taking your wagon and attaching it to a comet, because that's just pretty much how you're going to go. But I can tell you that I have enjoyed the ride. I'm still enjoying it. And I am just so grateful, you know, for the amount of effort, energy, passion, heart that you put into everything that you do, because it really helps me to see how to live my life and how to carry myself. And for that, I truly want to thank you. Dr. West, is there anything that you want to say as your last words, and also let people know how they can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. You can get in contact with me by going to my website, rubenwest.com. But, you know, as a last word, you're your best investment.
Yes.
You are your best investment. I mean, we spend money on a lot of different things, and we have to learn to spend money investing in ourselves, not on ourselves. I'm not talking about my clothes, and I'm not talking about my shoes. I'm talking about investing in ourselves, our health, our knowledge. And here's one thing I want you to do. I want you to think about, what if you could only put on your shelf the books you've read? I'm going to say that one more time. What if you could only put up there the books you've read, and everything you haven't read, you have to take off? And the only reason I say that, Sakoni, is I find a lot of people invest in shelf development as opposed to self-development, right? Their shelf looked really, really good, but they haven't read the stuff on the shelf. And what I'm going to say is, it would probably be much more beneficial to you to have less things on the shelf that you have read than to have all of these things that makes it look like you're really building yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Don't fool yourself, because after a while you tend to believe that that's your knowledge. It's not. And so your best investment is in, not on, in yourself. That's my final thought.
Well, Dr. West, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on our show today. And I'm telling you, and I can't say enough about this man, because he has been the catalyst for my speaking career. And I can't say that I have, every penny that I've invested with him has been well worth it. And it's been an investment in me, but I just did it through him. And I am grateful to God for him. And I appreciate everything that he does and continues to do to help people see themselves in a better light. So Dr. West, again, thank you for being on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
The wait is finally over for Sakoni's most anticipated book of the year, Leadership That Lasts, passing on 10 solid principles to ensure an enduring legacy. Powerful, effective, impactful, helpful, dynamic, phenomenal, transformative, life-changing. Available now in Amazon. Order yours today.